Welcome to this edition of mock OSHA inspection tips provided by the pros. Today's tips are provided by Curtis Chambers, a degreed certified safety professional with extensive experience in the occupational health and safety field. This presentation focuses on the top 5 OSHA violations typically found when inspecting bench and pedestal grinders. More specifically, bench and pedestal grinders equipped with abrasive grinding wheels. The first of the OSHA violations commonly found during mock OSHA inspections involving bench and pedestal grinders is that the equipment must be secured to prevent unintentional movement. When you look at the base of most grinders, you will see holes intended to be used to bolt the grinder to the surface upon which it sits. Without being secured in place, the grinder could unintentionally move due to vibration, leading to it potentially falling off the supporting surface. Or, more likely, the entire grinder could shift or move when force is applied while the part is being ground, which could cause the operator to make accidental contact with the rotating wheel. So the grinder must be secured to prevent unintentional movement. Here is the OSHA standard, found in the OSHA machine guarding standards, that addresses this specific hazard. The next common OSHA violation found during bench and pedestal grinder inspections is that the lower tool rest, also called a work rest, is not installed and adjusted so that no more than a 1/8 inch gap exists between the tool rest and the face of the abrasive wheel. In fact, this standard shows up regularly in the list of top OSHA violations cited year after year. A grinding wheel turns downward as it spins. If there is no work or tool rest in place, or if the gap between the tool rest and the face of the wheel is too wide, the part being ground can become jammed in between the grinder casing or the tool rest and the wheel, possibly causing the wheel to break or shatter. By maintaining the gap between the tool rest and the wheel to no more than 1/8 of an inch, and adjusting it as the wheel size decreases due to use, the possibility of the part becoming jammed in the gap is greatly reduced. Here is the OSHA standard that specifically addresses this requirement. The next common OSHA violation is closely related. It requires that the upper periphery or tongue guards on the grinder be in place and adjusted so that the gap between the end of the guards and the top of the abrasive wheel does not exceed 1/4 of an inch. The purpose of this upper guard is so that if the abrasive wheel should shatter for some reason, parts of the wheel which could be ejected from the top of the grinder opening will be contained, or deflected from striking the operator. So this upper guard must be set and then readjusted as the wheel diameter decreases so the opening never exceeds 1/4 of an inch. Here is the OSHA standard that specifically addresses this hazard. It is not uncommon to find that the guards that fits over each end of the grinder are not put back in place after one of the abrasive wheels has been replaced. And that leads to the potential for someone to make accidental contact with the moving abrasive wheel, or to get a shirt sleeve or other article of clothing wound up in the nut on the end of the spinning spindle. So it is a requirement of this particular OSHA standard that the guard door cover be installed when an abrasive wheel grinder is being operated. And last but not least is an electrical hazard commonly found during grinder inspections. Bench and pedestal grinders with metal cases could possibly become energized should a live wire or part accidentally come loose and contact the inside of the case. This could lead to an electrocution of anyone who touches the energized case. So, to prevent such an accident, most metal-cased grinders are equipped with a power cord that contains a ground wire that is attached to the inside of the casing, and which is attached to the ground pin on the grounding type plug on the other end of the power cord. However, if the grounding pin becomes loose or gets broken off, then protection from electrocution in the event of the metal case becoming energized is lost. There are actually a few OSHA standards addressing grounding of equipment and tools with metal casings that could become accidentally energized, and this is the one we cite most often during mock OSHA inspections when we find the ground pin to be damaged or missing. So, here is a recap of our list of the 5 most common OSHA violations associated with bench or pedestal mounted abrasive wheel grinders found during our mock OSHA inspections. The equipment is not secured to prevent unintentional movement. The lower tool or work rest is not installed and adjusted so that a gap of no more than 1/8 of an inch exists at the face of the abrasive wheel. The upper periphery or tongue guard is not installed and adjusted so as to maintain no more than a 1/4 inch opening at the top of the abrasive wheel. The end guard is not maintained in place to cover the spindle nut, end, and flange projections while the abrasive wheel grinder is in use. And, protection from electrocution in the event that the metal casing of the grinder becomes accidentally energized is not provided because the grounding pin on the power cord is broken off or loose. There are many other potential OSHA violations involving abrasive wheel bench and pedestal grinders in addition to the ones we covered here. So, Refer to the OSHA 1910 General Industry Standards for Abrasive Wheel Machinery, as well as the 1926 Construction Standards for Abrasive Wheels and Tools for more OSHA requirements that apply. Oh, and one more thing. Anytime you find an OSHA violation of any type, be sure to tag the equipment and take it out of service right away. That wraps up this edition of Mock OSHA Inspection Tips from the Pros. Be sure to come back to see us, as we will occasionally post more videos with tips from the pros that you can use when you conduct your mock OSHA inspections.